Hi, I'm Pat Barnard, Group Managing Editor for TMC, and I'm here at IT Expo West in Los Angeles with David Immethun, Senior Director of Marketing for PanTerra Networks. Hey David, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Pat. Thanks for having me today.
So why don't you start off by providing us with a brief overview of PanTerra Networks?
Sure, great, and thanks for the time today. PanTerra Networks offers a cloud-based unified communication service which encompasses a whole variety of communication mediums, including voice, instant message, presence, web collaboration, fax, email, calendar, you name it. We deliver those services completely 100% through the cloud, and we provide a user experience through browsers as well as commonly used interfaces such as Outlook, Salesforce, and a whole host of other web-enabled APIs.
Okay, all right, great. Now, obviously the hosted unified communication space is pretty competitive these days. More and more companies launching cloud-based communication services. What would you say differentiates your service from some of the other ones that are on the market?
That's a great question. Really what separates us from the others right now is that we offer the whole suite of products from a homegrown perspective. So we're not using a BroadSoft switch and Microsoft OCS. We're using a whole variety of our own services that we've created, which enable us to integrate them tighter both on the back end for the administrators, as well as on the front end from the user's experience.
Okay.
And so by doing that as a service provider, we enable our users to both use the service from any location, from any browser, and also if adds, moves, and changes are necessary, our users actually can reach out and communicate directly with us.
Okay, all right, great. What industries or verticals are you seeing the strongest play and strongest adoption for your service?
Great question. We see a great adoption in the real estate, medical, dental, multi-locations is really a hot spot for us. And actually as we see the organizations coming to talk to us at the higher end, 50, 100, 200 per location, we see a higher adoption and interest in unified communications instead of just hosted phone systems or just one small component of it. They're looking for the whole suite. They're looking at either augmenting what they have, increasing their current functionality, or completely replacing existing infrastructures.
Okay, great. And what's your sales model?
Our sales model is direct.
Direct, okay.
Also through the channel.
Okay.
And we also have wholesale programs.
Okay, all right, great, good. So you've got a hybrid model. That's great. Talk to me a little bit about the trend of rapidly increasing adoption of UC. One of the things that I think is driving it is SIP trunking, and we've got a SIP trunking track here at IT Expo, as you know. Just wondering if you could just sort of speak to, the many advantages that UC brings to organizations and some of the economic reasons why so many companies are being driven to it.
Great question. I think the SIP trunking prolongs the phone system's ability to last longer than it was intended to be on-prem. And so what we're finding is unified communications as a whole, the adoption of unified communications is growing year over year over year. And the hosted PBX market over the last 5 years has grown really rapidly to the point where its increase is in 10s and 20s and 30% each year, where the premise-based solutions are actually flat.
Right.
And so the UC solutions that were applied on premise-based solutions, the adoption hasn't been that great because the phone systems sales have been stifled. So now what we're seeing is the larger organizations and the organizations that are saying, okay, we're ready for a hosted type solution, looking for advanced communications and not just plain VoIP or simple VoIP. They're looking to us for unified communications as a service.
Right, yeah. And that's a good point too. I mean, I recently saw a study, I can't remember what name of the market research firm, I think there was actually several, to be honest with you, showing these hosted UC solutions moving up the chain like that. I mean, in the beginning it was very much the SMB space. It's a quick and easy to deploy solution, so obviously the value prop is there for smaller organizations with limited IT resources to be able to deploy these things very quickly and readily. But now I think because of the ease of integration that can take place, the fact that you can layer in apps, do integration with social networking and a whole wide variety of other applications and services that are out there, I think larger organizations are really starting to catch on to the value of taking this delivery route. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I agree. And actually part of our roadmap is to include social networks. We have to also be careful that adding social networks into a business application can become the opposite of what we're trying to do.
Right.
Our UC solution is intended to provide response times, increase accessibility to our users, increase productivity.
Right.
And a lot of times those social networks are doing the exact opposite.
Right.
And I've also heard that there are some networks that are looking at blocking social networking traffic because of those reasons.
Yeah.
So there's plans to increase the adoption of social networking to our product, but there's also concerns to see what happens over the next couple years.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, you integrate it in, you deliver it out to employees' desktops, and next thing you know, they're on Facebook and Twitter all the time, right? And the other thing is also, you know, there's certain risks involved in doing that. When you when you start integrating social media, it's not something you go into nonchalantly. You need to have a strategy there in terms of how you're going to deal with social media, how you're going to respond to what's going on out there. If you're, for example, measuring trends, you know, customer responses, going out there and mining what customers are saying about you. And so you really need to have a strategy in place. And I think one of the dangers of having it in a solution that's really ready to be deployed very quickly and easily is that you can put your customers actually in sort of a perilous situation where they're not prepared to deal with it. Would you say that that's true?
Sure.
Yeah.
Putting social media into the network is almost like putting a call center in, right? You have a group of specialized people that take those inquiries in, and they have the tools and the ability to actually deal with them. Our service gives our users that capability. If and when we apply our social media on top of it, it would probably be in that area and enabling our clients that use the social media aspect of our service to be able to respond to those inquiries, as well as get access to information to respond to them through all the other UC elements that we provide. Instant message, email, presence, phone calls, digital fax, being able to respond to those inquiries in a social media standpoint. But pushing those social media outlets out to all the users,
Yeah, right.
I think I hit my point a little earlier.
Yeah.
Could be dangerous, but it's still so soon to say.
Right. Now, you mentioned call center, and that's a good point. I mean, there's an awful lot of customer-facing organizations out there that also are benefiting from UC, and finding that bringing it into the call center is a great play. Now, do you guys play into that space?
Yes, absolutely. So because our product is cloud-based, we can actually go in and service the call center inside of a large organization. So we can go in and service the small, informal call center of, say, an IT group. Or we can also service a sales group or a support group.
Right.
Or we also have clients inside of a large organization. We also have clients of ours using our call center product that offer outsourced call center services to their clients, providing them with the dynamic reports that allows them to say, here's my service level for this client, here's my routing rules for this client, here are my teams for this client, route calls, instant messages and emails based on skills-based routing. So a whole variety of different things.
Right.
I think during my original overlay of the company, or my overview of the company, I limited the amount of functionality that we have. So.
Right, yeah. And I think that's another thing too, is that so many companies, when they investigate UC, they become so enamored with what it can do for employee productivity and their internal operations that they sometimes tend to overlook at first what it can do for their external, their customer-facing communications. And so I think that's definitely one of its value props as it stands right now.
That's really our biggest messaging push right now, and this is the biggest thanks that we hear from our customers is our services increase response times, and it also increases productivity and decreases costs, and all of those things result in a better offering for our clients, for their customers. Increases in sales, decrease in costs, better operating margins across the board. And then also, from a unified communication standpoint, we're looking at providing access to all of our users with their external people and their internal people to information. We actually have a fully cloud-based free service offering that our clients actually give to their clients
Okay.
to extend the service of unified communications
Oh,
out
that's a great
to their
idea.
clients.
Yeah, to their partners, your affiliates, what have you.
It's called TryUC.
Okay.
And TryUC is a free download. It's actually a web-based interface again. Username, password, make phone calls, instant messaging, presence. You can actually share your desk with somebody. And this is our ability to push UC from our customers out to their customers, increasing response times there and also increasing response times internally.
Right. Also probably provides a great mechanism for you guys to continue to boost sales, I would imagine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for joining us today. I've been talking to David Immethun, Senior Director of Marketing for PanTerra Networks, coming to you from IT Expo West in Los Angeles. Thanks again.
Thanks, Pat.